She is a fellow yoga teacher. She is a tremendous resource for us. She and I have known each other for 20 years. I'm going to quickly click on her link so that she can be seen by you as well. It's really nice to see everyone. And if you could just tell us where you're coming from, that would be wonderful. Welcome, Kachi. Kachi G. How are you, Ella? I want to start by just saying thank you to Kachi for coming on. Kachi is, when I started training to be a yoga teacher in the very early 2000s, she was one of the first people who welcomed me into the space, really, with such confidence and such grace. It was such a beautiful thing to be loved and held by you. I am so looking forward to sharing this time. Grief is something that we are all managing right now. Grief is a part of this experience. We are in mid-April 2020. We've been pretty much in our homes for the last month or two, some of us, depending on where we are in the world. Farther afield, some of us have been in our homes for 3-4 months now. Most of us are still overwhelmed by the amount of grief that is being not only felt by us, but also being felt by the rest of the world, the global community. I think it's important first that we address each other as one community. I think it's most important that we acknowledge the fact that there's so much grief around. And I would love to go through the stages of grief. I would love to have Kachi teach us how Native Americans manage and hold grief. And then I would like to get into the oils that we have chosen and have been chosen by others to manage this very emotional, real experience. Does that sound okay, Kachi? Okay.
Great.
Cool. First of all, naming your grief is one of the most important things you can do, and making sure that you are continuously trying to name it so that you don't try and stuff it away. You don't try and decide what you should and shouldn't feel. You just feel your feelings. I think it's most important right now, especially for the children. The children have no idea that this is normal. The children think, oh, yes, we're in a strange moment, but for them, this is a part of the trajectory of their lives. It's not something that's out of the normal because it's happening. When they see you grieving and having a difficult time without naming it, we're teaching those kids to stuff their feelings and keep them hidden. And that is not, this is just simply not what we want to be teaching. So how can we avoid feeling overwhelmed by this grief is one of the questions that I got when I put it out to several of my different communities. What would you like me to talk about during this session? And fighting it simply doesn't help anything. Again, naming it is the most important thing. That is the way to stop feeling overwhelmed by your grief. Coming into the present, continuously making sure that you're sitting, moving, feeling your body, focusing on how to keep your body, your circulation going is a critical aspect to releasing grief. Why? If we, and especially now, and I'm not going to say anything that's not compliant, but if we don't move, guess what? We get stagnancy here. Upper chest, read LUNGS. And if we get stagnancy there, what happens? You know what happens. I don't have to tell you because I want to stay compliant. But in your LUNGS, you do not want to have stagnancy there, especially right now. You keep moving, even if it means walking, even if it means chair yoga. I'll be teaching chair yoga to a community called Vitality Society very soon. I feel very called to this. Make sure that you're moving in whatever way you are capable of moving to move the energy through this part of your body, especially. letting go of what you can't control is one of the most important things you can do. We don't know what's happening. We certainly don't know how it happened. We have lots of theories. You can Google anything you want and find all the conspiracy theorists. They're out in droves right now. I love them all. I watch them all. Do I believe them all? No, no, no. But I like listening to them because I like having the different perspectives. I will watch all the different news, but not every day. I'll pick 5 minutes a day here, 5 minutes a day there. What are those guys saying? What are these guys saying? It's so interesting to watch because everyone has their own agenda. I am certainly not feeling like I can control any of it. And the more I let go of what I can't control, the more I can learn and the more distance I can have from all of the hysteria and the chaos and the confusion that all of these outlets are trying to engender within us so that we are powerless. That is one way to release grief, is to release what you cannot control. The open-endedness of this pandemic is, I think, one of the most sort of disconcerting aspects of grief. And I want to take you through the 6 stages before I hand it over to Kachi. The first stage, of course, denial. I don't want to feel this. I don't want to feel this hurt or this pain. I'm just going to be angry instead. I'm going to stuff the pain down low and I'm going to burst into a rage. And I'm going to get righteous and I'm going to put my righteousness all over social media. Does that help anybody? No. The second stage is anger, obviously, because when you deny something, what you're denying has to go somewhere and it's going to come bursting out of you, as I just explained. The third stage is some sort of bargaining, like in the best example. Okay, if I behave and social distance for 2 weeks, everything's going to get better, right? Everything's going to be fine, right? We don't know that everything's going to be fine. We really actually don't know that everything will be fine. So what can we do? We can let go of what we don't control and we can just let it be. I just taught meditation this moment and I said, you know what, today I'm not going to fix anything. I'm not going to try and figure it out. I'm just going to have a good day here with the resources and the people that I have around me. The fourth stage, sadness. Because once you pass through that anger, you try and work it into a deal with God or whoever your source happens to be, you will find that there is a deep well, and it is not just your own, it is collective, it is sadness, and it is real. I don't know when this will end. That is weird, and that is sad. There are so many sad things going on right now. And if I want to look, I will find the coffins all over Brooklyn. I will find the freezer morgues in trailers all over my city. But if I get to the fifth stage and I learn that acceptance is probably my best medicine right now, that's where I start to breathe again. And I think that's where I want to give you, Kachi, the floor, because that's really where the wisdom of the Native American cultures, Aboriginal cultures in general, begins to flourish with the foundation of acceptance. And it's 5 stages of grief, obviously not 6. I don't know where 6 came from. 5 stages. Teach us, Kachi. I'm so looking forward to hearing.
Thank you so much, Elena, honey.
I love you so much.
So my point is, I want to take it from where you left it, how important it is to not resist. And unfortunately, in our society, we've been taught that somehow if you're grieving, then you did something wrong. You must have gotten it wrong somehow, or you're weak and you're pathetic, because where is your It's also known as a spiritual bypass. Where is your positive thinking? And when we do that, we actually
Mhm.
don't allow ourselves to feel it. Like Malidoma Somé, a great African healer, he talks about that our streets, our meaning Western society, our streets are filled with the ungrieved dead, is what he says. It's just palpable. And I remember when my mom died from cancer some years ago, and I was completely devastated. And I sat by her side day and night, really, and cried so hard. She was my best friend. And she would look at me, and she didn't say, "Stop crying, it'll be fine," or whatever, stiff upper lip. She just looked at me, and she said, Müsli, which means little mouse in German, her nickname for me, Müsli. Um, are you watering the tree of love again? Are you watering the tree of love again? And I would start to laugh because I thought it was funny. I would be watering something, and suddenly I felt so useful. It's like instead of feeling weak and pathetic, I was like, wow, I'm watering the tree of love. And that really changed my relationship to grieving right there. And my husband, who is part Mohawk, which is why I know about this tradition, and many of the indigenous traditions, such as the Sioux, Lakota Sioux, they consider who is grieving Wakan or holy. And in the face of deep loss and in the grip of their grief, they are considered to be closest to Wakantanka, the Great Spirit. And it is actually considered proper to go and ask them for their help when they're grieving, because it is considered that their prayers are particularly strong medicine. So people line up at their tents and to go ask for prayers of those who are suffering. So I think it's just really important that we learn how to change our relationship to grieving. It is said that when the Buddha cried, when he really got to know suffering, it is said that his tears hit the ground, and out of the sacred earth, the goddess of compassion arose. And she is now called many names. She has many names. She's called Kuan Yin, Mother Mary, or the Green Tara. She's even called the Black Madonna, who is there. Her temple is found all over Germany still, and Switzerland. There's like on the roadside, you see little temples. And when you go in, it's actually to the Black Madonna. And then a special little tribute to Kali, which is our Hindu goddess from in the yoga tradition. And in the tantric tradition, it is said that no matter how far you fall, you can never fall past the net, the safety net of Kali. But sometimes maybe we have to let ourselves fall. We can't just say, oh, I'm going to just get over this, but we have to let ourselves fall, like Elena, like you said, like not trying to control it, but let go of control and fall. And then we will have this experience of being caught by the safety net of Kali.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I wanted to talk about Son Bonfu, which is Malidoma's wife.
Mm.
And she is from the Dagora. They're both from the Dagara tribe of Burkina Faso in West Africa. And they teach us that we need to grieve the things that no longer serve us and let them go. And in their tradition, instead of saying, aren't you finished grieving yet? I remember people asking me after a relationship, it's like, aren't you done with it? I'm like, apparently not quite yet. Aren't you finished grieving yet? They would say, have you grieved enough? Have you cried enough? And
Wow.
I find it so beautiful. It's like the price of not expressing one's grief clogs all of our systems and actually compromises the immune system and leads to shame and blame. And I recently grieved the loss of our beloved dog Lilo, and the pain was truly excruciating. It was like as bad as when my mom died. I kid you not. I wasn't going to say that because I felt so weird when I realized that, but
No, but it's
she,
true.
it is true. And she's been with us, like, sleeping in our bed for 13 years. And
Yeah.
Joshua and I've never seen my husband cry like this. And
Mhm.
this big guy, my husband, you met him. He's like
Yes.
6'5" and
Massive.
tattoos all over his body.
Badass.
Badass human being, and he's, martial arts, and he can be deadly. What did
Deadly.
your sweetie call him, the Mega Man or something? Something like that. But anyway, he cried like a child, like loud. He wailed. Never seen him. And me too. And we just didn't stop it. We just grieved for 2, 3 days so hard.
Yeah.
And then guess what? It's like the rain passes, and all, like, you come to such a sweet place. Like, it's just like this sweet ache now. But I am really feeling like I grieved her properly, just
Mm.
enough.
Mm.
It wasn't like I was drowning in it, or feeling sorry for myself. It actually passed after a few days, and now it's just this sweet memory, like, of love that's left.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, so now I want to give it back to you so that you can teach us of how especially black spruce and helichrysum
Yes.
and
Yes.
cardamom help us to
Yes.
actually feel and express the grief. I'll
Thank
give it back
you.
to you.
Thank you so much. That is such important information for all of us to have right now. What you just shared. I can't wait for so many people to see this. We are in a season of great loss. We are dealing with a lot of suffering, a lot of loss of life. The number of people that are dying every day in New York City is like a wartime number, as though we were in a battle. Hundreds of people every day. The diffuser blend that I want to recommend for processing grief is the first three oils that I recommended: black spruce, helichrysum, and cardamom. These three have been nonstop for me here as we move through the days. I would just diffuse 3 drops each for 2 or 3 days straight. Why? And if you have a small space, definitely open a window, definitely be aware if you have animals. None of these oils are contraindicated for animals, but no tea tree, no eucalyptus for animals. We've lost human touch. We've lost, we think we've lost our lifestyle, but I think it's just getting recalibrated in a very different way. You can make a roller bottle, and this is from my teacher, Desiree Mangendog. We have a great episode on my podcast with her from a recent chat that we had. 5 ml roller bottle. Get ready. 8 drops of black spruce, 5 drops of cardamom, and 5 drops of helichrysum. The rest is carrier oil, and you apply that to wrist creases and to your chest. Okay. To move through all of the stages. Everyone is different. We go through these things at different times: denial, anger, bargaining, sadness, finally to acceptance. This blend will help you no matter what stage. Black spruce can also address all of the organs and emotions associated with each one of these stages in Chinese medicine. So keep that in mind if you are a practitioner. And don't be hard on yourself if you don't feel productive right now. Let it be a time of germination. Seeds have to sit for a really long time in the ground before things can grow out of them. And that might be this time for you. If you do not have these oils, breathe is the most incredible alternative. Every single time I bring that blend to my nose, just from the bottle, it changes my state entirely. Let's talk about the properties of each one so we understand why they're working, and then I'll open it up to questions and let you go. I don't like to keep you too long. Black spruce is the oil of stability. It's grounding. Spruces are especially helpful in times of crisis, shock, or trauma, when a person's energy may splinter and go in all different directions. Think about what the trees are. Think about how they stand. They don't move. They get swayed by the wind. They withstand the weather, but they don't move. If we can take some of that inspiration and use that for our own way of holding ourselves, our own comport. Be like a tree. It teaches us how to regulate our physical energy. And interestingly, it's also very much a skin, let's call it regenerative. Keep that in mind too for your facial oils. Keep the black spruce close and you'll have double the benefit, emotional and physiological. Drawing strength from our roots when you think about a tree, that capacity. Kachi does it all the time. It's why I keep her close. It's why I love her so much. She's always looking back to ancestry and lineage in a very respectful way. Any tradition that does that has my heart. Drawing from your roots, whatever is good about your roots, even if you had a very difficult, traumatic childhood, go farther, go back. Find somewhere in your lineage, even if you don't know the facts, go within yourself and intuitively locate within your lineage the fortification that you need right now, because it exists. The fact that you exist means that there is fortification in your ancestry upon which you can call to help you in these times. Helichrysum is the master trauma, and I mean emotional trauma. It's wonderful for pain, and I won't say much more than that because I want to keep this compliant, but you can read into that what you wish. This oil gives strength and endurance. This oil lends us a feeling of steadiness, a feeling of resilience to keep on going despite difficulties. It's as though it could take our little hands and walk us through this trying time. It's not a pleasant smell, Helichrysum. And when you look at the flowers, they're absolutely beautiful, but it's almost like this, I can't use the M word. I can't use the M word, but I really want to. It has that quality. The M word that has EDIC, it has that quality. INAL, it has that quality. When you smell it, when you feel it, when you put it on the crown of your head, when you feel like you have great emotional pain. Cardamom is the oil of objectivity. It's one of the oils that I use when I want to remember myself and bring a level of mental sobriety back. You know, when you get really caught up in the news and you're like, oh my God, look at this. And you try and send a million people this one thing that you saw that you totally resonated with. Cardamom. That's the one. It assists us when we feel hot-headed, when we feel frustrated with other people. Nobody's pulling their weight around here. Nobody's here to even pull weight. I'm pissed off. Go to your cardamom. And every time you smell the cardamom, you're going to have balance, mental clarity, like you can't believe, and great objectivity. I live for cardamom in my diffuser with peppermint, especially at the end of a meal. Both are such good digestive fuel. So fun to be compliant. Yarrow Palm is a great one. The oil of energetic safety. Okay. Yarrow Palm is here to shield us from negative influences. How many times in the last several days have you found yourself challenged by somebody else's negativity? The Yarrow Palm is a larger bottle. It comes in a dropper. I've been using it. I take one little drop of that blue, again, I want to use the M word, but I won't, in my hand, and I put it inside of my nose before I go anywhere. If I have to go do the grocery runs, because I'm the only one who does them, my mask, gloves, everything. But I always put the Yarrow Palm inside of my nose before I go. It's here to dispel anxious feelings, fearful feelings. Yarrow Palm is very good for that. I use it on my hands as hand moisturizer. I put a couple of drops into my face oil now these days, and I pat it into my face, and it's a little bit blue, and then it melts into your face, and it's so lovely. And it helps to harmonize me, especially when I'm getting very empathetic, which happens often. Know that the yarrow essential oil is actually in a carrier oil of pomegranate, which is why it's called Yarrow Palm. That pomegranate carrier is long revered as a sacred plant, symbolizing for many cultures ideals around life and death and learning and wisdom. Cyprus is the next one, and I love this oil for grief because it is the oil of motion and flow. And as we said earlier, to keep moving is to keep energy moving through your lungs. And I'm not saying anything about anything other than keep the energy moving through your lungs. So cypress, I apply it before I work out on my arms. Diluted or not, doesn't seem to make a difference to me. If you're new to the tree oils, I would just do a little patch test on your arm with diluted first, 1 drop in a teaspoon of carrier oil. It's about energetic flow. It's about emotional release, catharsis. Emotionally, it's really teaching us how to let go of the past. This is what we have to do every single second, because guess what? What we knew 2 weeks ago is not what we know today. And every single day we have to do some work around letting go of what we thought might be true. Lastly, for today, geranium, the oil of love and trust. When I suffer any loss of any kind, and geranium is one of the ones that I put in my face oil almost daily, alternating with ylang ylang, frankincense. Geranium brings back a sense of trust in not just myself, but in the world. That's where I lose it. And I forget that everything is in some right order. Geranium's the one that I reach for, and it's usually with me morning and night. Everybody loves the way it smells. Ooh, you smell so good. It's just 1 drop of geranium in my face oil. Beautiful before Shavasana, beautiful before Yoga Nidra, beautiful before a nap. Hopefully you're getting 1 or 2 of those in. And the coda on this list of oils is obviously the Breathe blend. It addresses our inability to let go of pain, grief, emotionally. We, according to Chinese medicine, we hold all of our grief in our lungs. And we don't need to talk about anything physiological, because to know on the energetic level, the subtle level, that this particular blend helps us to release that sort of pain and move it through us, is to keep this region of the body open so that we can also allow happiness, because this is also where happiness lives. That's enough information for now, I believe. I'm going to jump into the chat, and I'm going to check and make sure that we don't have any questions. Let's see. Okay, cardamom cypress. The heading says cypress, but you are saying cardamom. I am also saying cardamom and cypress. I'm saying both. Both of those oils are critical for grief. So have them both near. They're really nice together in the diffuser as well, just so you know. Yeah, geranium, great. Yes, thank you for typing what I cannot say. Awesome. The magic of Helichrysum. I don't see any other questions at the moment. Let's see. Nothing else right now. Okay. Thank you. It's a great pleasure and privilege to serve you. I will be back here with Angela Chambers to do some more acupoints with you soon. I feel very lucky to share this. This is a group that is cross-team. So this isn't just my team, it's all the teams. And I just want to say I'm really, really honored to be here with you all And thank you so much for joining me. Kachi, it's such a pleasure. Can we do this again, please?
Anytime.
Yeah, anytime. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you all again soon. I will be sure to have the announcement for the timing for Angela and me. It'll be on Tuesday, April 21st, coming up soon. Might see you again before then. Let's see. And thank you so much. Any questions that you have, put them down below this video and I will be sure to visit and answer. Thank you again.